The skeletal hand, dripping with a foul ichor, tore through the fabric of existence. It was no mere appendage of flesh and bone, but a limb of cosmic dread, a herald of an age before memory. "Ah, a new player," he chuckled, "a sound like grinding stars. One that hungers for more than just souls." Freya felt the ancient cold seep into her very core, a primal fear that predated even the concept of he. This was the Umbra primordial made manifest, not as a corrupting influence, but as an unmaking force. The nascent worlds, so recently born from the Crimson Gateway, flickered like dying embers, their nascent light choked by the encroaching shadow. The primal scream from the threatened world intensified, a symphony of pure terror. Freya, the Nexus, the conduit, felt her crimson essence surge, not in defiance, but in a desperate, primal instinct for survival. The obsidian eye within the gateway pulsed, mirroring the void from which the skeletal hand emerged. It was not just an eye, it was a maw, a gateway to absolute nothingness. The hand continued its descent, each movement a violation of reality. Freya's vision of the vibrant, threatened world flashed before her eyes, a world that was now directly in the path of this ancient, consuming darkness. The choice the ancient entity had presented, shepherd the dawn or be its sacrifice, was now a cruel mockery. There was no dawn to shepherd, only an abyss to face. She channeled the crimson energy, not to fight, but to understand. Where did this power originate? What was its purpose? Was it truly connected to the Creator, or was it something far older, far more terrifying? He watched, his amusement turning to a predatory interest. He had not orchestrated this, but he relished the chaos. This was a game he had not anticipated, a wild card that threatened even his dominion. The ancient entity, the whisper of restoration, seemed to falter, its form shimmering with uncertainty. It had spoken of rebuilding, but how could one rebuild from absolute erasure? The skeletal hand was inches away. Freya could feel the pull of oblivion, a sweet, seductive promise of an end to all struggle. But then, a spark. A defiant ember within the crimson core of her being. It wasn't the Creator's light, nor the ancient entity's hope. It was her own. The Nexus, forged in darkness and infused with hope, was now a crucible of defiance. She roared, a sound that ripped through the cosmic silence, a challenge to the void itself. The crimson energy surged outwards, not as a shield, but as a wave of pure, unadulterated will. It struck the skeletal hand, not to repel it, but to resonate with it. The ichor hissed, the bone vibrated, and for a fleeting moment, the obsidian eye widened in something akin to surprise. The hand faltered, its descent slowing. He leaned forward, his amusement replaced by a calculating glint. This was unexpected. This was interesting. Freya felt a connection, a dark kinship with the hand, a terrifying understanding of its hunger. It was a hunger for existence, a desperate attempt to fill an infinite void. And she, the Nexus, held the key to that void. The Crimson Gateway pulsed again, and from its depths, not another hand, but a single, obsidian shard, sharp as a fallen star, began to emerge. It hummed with an ancient, malevolent energy, a stark contrast to the skeletal hand's chaotic hunger. Two hungry souls, drawn to the same feast, he mused. The game, it seems, has only just begun. Freya felt the shard's pull, a siren song of ultimate power, a promise of control over the very unmaking she faced. But she also felt the echo of the threatened world's scream, a plea for survival. The skeletal hand began to move again, not downwards, but sideways, towards the emerging shard. A battle for the fate of existence was about to commence, and Freya was caught at its epicenter, a pawn and a player in a game far grander and more terrifying than she could have ever imagined. The Crimson Gateway pulsed, the obsidian eye now fixed on Freya, a silent invitation to consume or be consumed. And from the threatened world, a single, faint whisper of hope, almost lost in the cosmic cacophony, reached her. It spoke of sacrifice, not as an end, but as a beginning.